You think your medals give you a pass to ignore a direct order? Judge Cassidy's voice cut sharp through the silent courtroom. Her perfectly coiffed blonde hair shimmered under the lights. Every eye was on her, the youngest judge on the bench, known for her beauty, brilliance, and zero tolerance for defiance. Across from her stood a man in a faded military uniform, Sergeant Thomas Blake, 68, broad-shouldered even under the weight of time. A scar traced the side of his face like a forgotten battlefield map. His lips pressed together, trembling slightly, yet his gaze never wavered. "I asked you a question," she repeated, leaning forward, gavel poised like a sword. "I heard you," he finally replied, voice low. "And I stand by my choice." The courtroom rippled with murmurs. What choice? What could make a decorated war hero defy a judge? Earlier that morning, Judge Cassidy had issued a simple order, a community service appearance by all veterans in her jurisdiction. Just one afternoon to speak to local high school students about discipline and patriotism. Most agreed. Thomas didn't. "I don't tell war stories for sport," he'd said. But she'd insisted. "We need to remind them who the real heroes are. This is bigger than your pride." Still, he refused, and now here they were, in open court. Judge Cassidy, visibly frustrated, pressed on. "Sergeant Blake, are you aware that your refusal could be seen as contempt?" He nodded. "I am." "You're willing to be held in contempt, to sit in jail, because you won't talk to some kids?" He inhaled, slow and steady. "Ma'am, with all due respect, I've already served more than my time behind walls." The room fell silent again, and then she asked what no one expected. Softly, almost with a whisper. "Why?" Blake looked at her, not as a judge, but as a person. And something in his eyes softened. "You want the truth?" he asked. She nodded. "I was 19 when I first held a dying friend in my arms. His name was Eddie. He'd just turned 20. Back home, he had a girl named Rachel and a scholarship waiting. We were ambushed outside Fallujah. One second he was cracking jokes, the next, I was wiping his blood off my hands." Gasps echoed around the room. Blake's voice cracked but didn't break. "That day, I learned what it meant to carry ghosts. Every speech I give, every time I'm asked to inspire, I see Eddie, and the 50 others who never got to grow old. I'm not defying you to be stubborn. I'm protecting them from being turned into applause lines." Cassidy blinked, visibly moved. But protocol remained. "We all have burdens, Sergeant. I lost my father in the Gulf. I still do my duty." He looked her straight in the eye. "Then you understand why I have to do mine." There was a pause, one heavy, thunderous moment where pride, pain, and principle clashed. And then she did something no one expected. Judge Cassidy stepped down from the bench. She walked slowly across the courtroom floor until she stood in front of Blake. Not as a judge, not as an authority, just as a daughter. "My father never came home, but I used to pretend he would. And when I imagined that day, I imagined a man just like you." Her voice cracked, but she continued. "This wasn't about punishment. It was about honoring the ones who made it home. Because too many like my dad never did. I thought I was doing the right thing by ordering it." Blake's eyes glistened. She held out her hand. "I'm not your judge right now. I'm just someone asking, not for a speech, not for stories, just for your presence. You standing in front of those kids might teach them more about sacrifice than 1,000 words ever could." The courtroom held its breath. Blake looked at her hand, then back at her eyes. Slowly, he extended his own. They shook hands. "I'll go," he said, "but I won't speak. I'll stand. That's all." "That's enough," she whispered. The bailiff wiped his eyes. A reporter dropped her pen. The audience, once ready to scoff or criticize, rose to their feet. A slow, swelling standing ovation, and something changed in Judge Cassidy. She'd come into that room wielding power, but left it having earned respect. Because leadership isn't about authority, it's about humility. And courage isn't just found on battlefields. Sometimes it stands silent in courtrooms, carrying ghosts with honor. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment, where are you watching from? If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button and drop a karma in the comments below.